大家下午好。Let's have a look at China. So we are from Starcom MediaVest Group, the #1 billing agency in China. And I started Liquid Thread 2 years ago, which is the first expansion out of USA. And what we try to do is to create value-added service for our clients. So we've seen a lot about product placement. I try to actually promote holistic integration for clients. So we actually created a lot of best of world case studies with P&G in USA. And so we bring the proven global learnings to China to help our clients grow together with us. And very interestingly, if you know about the media agency, it's all about planning and buying. So Liquid Thread actually sits in the center between strategy and tactical planning. So we're able to have a holistic picture to create a total holistic strategy for our client. So where are we? So obviously we're in China. So our head office of Starcom MediaVest China is in Shanghai. We're in Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Beijing. And look at this. It's amazing, right? Look at China. China is the size of how many countries put together. This is a very, very interesting slide. So I hate it when people say, like, don't go to China, there's fake eggs. Which part of China? Okay? So be very specific, because you could be talking about utopia of China. You could be talking about Ukraine of China. It's so huge, right? And, you know, being so big, of course, the #1 population and all that, you know, we have about 400 million household, TV household, over 3,000 TV stations, and about 485 million internet users, 800 million mobile users. China Telecom is the #1 telecom in the world. I'm not going to talk too much about digital. My colleague, my counterpart, Andrew Wong, will be talking about digital tomorrow at 4:30 session, so stay tuned. So, having said that, China is so complicated, right? I am a Singaporean. I live in China, and how do I survive? Okay? There are 10 things to remember. Simply put, just remember these 10 things, okay? Of course, it's very fragmented. It's still a seller's market. The sellers call the shot. All right? Like your TV station calls a shot. Strong growth and inflation, duh, everyone knows that. So tight control. The staff regulation is, I love what I saw just now, the Korean Running Man reality show. Sorry, reality show is banned in China. And sorry, you know, like time travel is banned in China. There's so much regulation. The beauty of China is that you can actually think out of the box. You are pushed to actually be creative about it. And then one great thing about, you know, limiting the TVC inventory in China is that branded content is on the rise. So a lot of brands are actually integrated into the programs, into the content, into the dramas, and to create, you know, engagement with the consumer. So the rest, I'm not going to go into details because you'll hear more about it from Andrew's sessions tomorrow. So branded entertainment actually has evolved tremendously in just 2 years. It's just, you know, almost at the pace of US. I mean, it's almost as sophisticated as US right now. So our consumers has actually prefer, you know, their content to be seen with product placement. I'll actually show you our research later. So from very simple product placement, somebody from Beijing was talking about PPL, so product placement was so passé, but then it's still existing. And it has actually evolved to tailor-made content. So total holistic content has been created for brands. So first of all, we have to take a step back. Starcom MediaVest Group is a human experience company. So we always have the core of our consumer or audience at heart. What do they like? Are you experiencing what they are experiencing? You have to engage with your consumer. And our consumers are no longer, you know, a receiver. So in China, we have IPTV, we have digital TV, and what have you. And similar to Korea, but not as advanced as Korea, but, you know, our consumer audience are on the move all the time. So they like to call the shot. I like to watch my show in the subway, you know, on mobile, on digital. So they like to be the programmer. And then, you know, so what you're going to do, you have to develop new messaging strategy to engage with your consumer. And the next step is actually moving from exposure, which is a simplistic TVC, to engagement, to create loyalty, to create the long tail. So Starcom actually developed with P&G, one of our global clients, to create the first consumer research in China recently. It's called the Thread. So we went to 45 markets in the top tier cities, and with a sampling size of more than 3,000. And we have some very surprising findings. You know, the consumer, the audience in China, love to actually feel good. You know, the economy is booming, of course, but there's so much pressure at work. They want actually content to make them feel good. And they want to be edutained. Edutain is actually a branded content term for educational entertainment. Okay, so they want to be educated, but in a very entertaining manner. How you are going to innovate the content to make it more interesting to engage your consumer. So they are looking for innovation in content integration. And then last but not the least, you know, like I said earlier, they want to be rich in multi-touch points. So the same content should be actually traveling on taxi media, outdoor media, digital, TV, what have you. It has to be holistic. And in China, again, you know, Andrew will talk to you further, social marketing strategy is really, really hot. And when I talk about social marketing strategy in China, it's not about Facebook, it's not about Twitter. It's all about Weibo, Weixin. It's beyond your Facebook and your Twitter. So another full-blown session can, you know, we can discuss about that. But, you know, bear this in mind. This is a very, very good summary and a very, very surprise, you know, findings for us. And other than the threat discovery, we have actually conducted the Yangtze study. So last year, it was a very, very successful lower tier study. Like I said again, China is so big. So there's, you know, a lot of cities with different consumer behavior in the lower tiers. It's not your Beijing, Shanghai, or Guangzhou. So their consumer purchasing behavior, watching behavior is very, very different. And actually, we went out to all the counties, provinces, and really go deep down into the research of their consumer behavior. And actually, statistics has it that when consumers' audience watch the content, they are induced to try. And they are induced to purchase a product. So it proves that, you know, branded entertainment, branded content actually work. This Yangtze study is in alliance with Coca-Cola, our clients, and Mars and Wrigley. And we are actually continuing again in 2013. It is one of the first research that we have actually conducted the first lower tier research in China. So it's a very, very interesting finding. And actually, my CEO was like, you know, in the trip herself in the lower tier cities, like she has to go to the toilet in the field. So just imagine what we went through. It's very, very interesting. So in China, at the end of the day, like I said, there are more than 3,000 TV stations, and satellite TVs has dominated the scene. Way more than your CCTV, right? And satellite TVs are still, you know, dominating the scene. Especially, everyone knows, The Voice of China is the #1 show right now. 中国好声音. I'm sure the next speaker, Rebecca, will be telling you more about The Voice of China. And so everyone wants, you know, all clients also want to be, you know, participating in branded content in top satellite TV stations. And a lot of clients who are actually into a mass reach, they will only consider your top 10 satellite TV stations. And some of them actually might only consider your top 5 satellite TV stations. So competition is really, really fierce. And that's why, you know, all satellite TV stations, a lot of TV stations are really into purchasing legitimate formats and actually creating your own. So this, you'll be hearing a lot more from Rebecca in IPCN later as well. So what happened? Let's look at, you know, variety shows in China. So within this 2 years, how has it changed? So I will actually take the liberty of telling you what we have done for Liquid Thread. So Liquid Thread actually, we brought in the M&M spoke candy from Hollywood to Asia. So in Hollywood, probably you'll be seeing like the red and yellow spoke candy interviewing Johnny Depp or Cameron Diaz. We brought them over. They actually interact with the local celebrities now. So this is the first localized version in Asia. Can we roll the tape, please?
大家好，我是红色温柔。主持人好，方经理。杨千嬅，我是林真。我们之间能够见过面吗？曾经吃过。是啊，就是你。哇。我可是大明星，好吧？要有钱就钱好。行吧，行啊你。喜欢什么样的男生？我帮你介绍。我怎么知道我在单身呢？可是我也从来没有说过不喜欢女子。结婚这档事要慎重啊。我也爱你们。豆子可以顺便给我，可以吧？当然，他唱的确实挺好，也许是运气，也许是因为有人不放弃。为我献歌一首，不好意思啊，就不会打到你了。
for those of you who are involved in production or have dealt with Nickelodeon or Disney, you actually are aware that the animation are sacred. So if the animation is done this way, you cannot create it. You can't create it this way. So it was a huge challenge when I imported this from Dallas, Chicago, and New York over. We are literally making the celebrities adapt to the animation. It's the other way around, and it's the first that's being done. So technically, it's a huge challenge as well to bring the CGI over, and having the celebrities to be so obedient and interacting in a blue screen in thin air. So it was a very, very successful case study. We are into our year 3 now, and I'm proud to say that we have won M&M a very, very big awards to be announced later with Campaign Asia very soon. Okay, so that was Mars for M&M, and for Wrigley, Wrigley is actually, Wrigley has several brands. Of course, it's not seen in Singapore. You cannot chew gums. So, Double Mint is the #1 chewing gum in China. It's got more than 95% brand awareness. And, it has been very successful in their sales, in their marketing. And it's time for them to look into how do we engage with our consumer? How do we create CRM? How do we create loyalty? So, it's time to actually think bigger, Double Mint is about fostering face-to-face connection. So we have to look for a property that actually will create this brand accents very seamlessly into the content for them. Because Double Mint is all about, enhancing closeness, and with increased chemistry, increased understanding, you can achieve a bigger goal. It sounds very noble. It sounds like, oh my God, it's like a big wave, right? So, but we created actually 3 seasons of holistic integrated variety show on Jiangsu Weishi, which is the 2nd biggest satellite in China, and then Zhejiang Weishi, which is the 3rd biggest satellite in China. In our 3 seasons of holistically integrated variety show, there is not a single product placement. Although, of course, the logo is pretty loud. So, but then, it is the first ever in China that, you create such thing like, not product right in your face. It's more about the brand spirit, the brand story. Branded content is about telling a good brand story to engage with your consumer. So last year, that was done. As if not enough, we are put into a bigger challenge. And I think Rebecca from IPCN has a lot to relate with me because we worked together. IPCN brought in the Sing-Off to China. So some of you here probably have seen Sing-Off, the American version, on Channel 5. And you probably are aware that it's a cappella. A cappella is about singing without a single musical instrument. It is the toughest music talent show to be produced on earth, period. So, so this is the new amplification that we just finished recently. So it is the perfect finale for Double Mint because, in an a cappella group, nobody can shine alone. Everyone has to work as a team. You need understanding, you need chemistry to actually perform a song and to win the battle together. So, this is a true holistic revelation of the double Mint spirit, which is perfect. So, and we actually went further. We wanted to create a holistic campaign altogether. So we even influenced BBDO, the creative agency, to create the TVCs that actually mirror the whole concept of a cappella. Let's have a look at the TVC commercial first. Roll the tape, please. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain, telling me how close we should be. I know that as it falls will always be the same. 进口香糖，轻轻口气，你我更亲近。 Okay, so from the TVC, actually, you will lead into the variety show. Just now, our Korean counterparts were saying from Moonhua, they were saying you cannot have TVC commercial in between the drama. Well, in China too. So we can only have TVC in front and behind. So, but of course, in a variety show, we can have, ad break in between. So, but this will be a good, total integrated campaign that, bring out the spirit of sing together, amaze better. This is the slogan of Double Mint, which is 唱在一起更了不起. And the same slogan for the first time has mirrored into the show slogan and the music video. And the show is produced by Shenzhen Satellite, a local TV, a satellite TV station. So have a look at the wonder of the first Sing-Off localized version in Asia, made in China. Roll the tape, please.
这是一切唱在一起，更了不起，更现唱在一起。
知道什么是阿卡贝拉，什么是清唱团。
清唱团真的很不容易，必须要有对位、和声、和弦的概念。
刚才这个表演我会记在心里，谢谢你。
你们5位团员还抱在一起，这是不是令我非常感动？我的心里只有你对着他。团队团队这个合作跟是我们前面的挺多的比赛当中没有看到过。
我觉得他们很有默契，就是像个家人的一个感觉。
什么原因？就是说内部有矛盾，这舞台上就应该是7个人。
感谢这个舞台，给了我们重新开始的理由。
Okay, so as you can see, it is the same stage design, the same choreography, the same producer from US. Dick actually was in China personally coaching the contestant. The winner actually won a contract with Sony Music, and they were invited to US for the sing-off as well. We are looking forward to the next sing-off in 2013 very soon. Okay, so for Wrigley, there's another, again, chewing gum not seen in Singapore. It's a sugar-free gum, and I think this is a very good example of edutainment because Extra is about oral care after meals, but you don't want to have like a TVC telling, oh, you know, if after eating you have to chew extra so that you balance your pH level and then you reduce tooth decay. Who want to listen to that? It's so boring. So you actually have to find a perfect property, a perfect match to actually edutain and engage your consumer and subtly educate them. After meal, chew extra. That will actually protect your teeth. So, you know, just now from Bunhua, they were talking about product placement, working with the local places of interest. And for this, we actually shot the entire thing in Jeju Island. We worked with CJ Entertainment. Yes, we have actually worked with Korean as well, the talent companies. So let's roll the tape.
总有一答。
近期在我们中国最好吃的口香糖英达，其实呢，吃英达真的平时是对牙齿非常好的，关键是它可以综合口香当中的酸碱度。啊，很棒！
It was a very successful 3 seasons with Extra, and we are moving forward, you know, onwards and upwards, and moving to Taiwan next year as well for Chinese New Year special. A very, very fun and entertaining property, and my team actually got fatter and fatter, you know, working on this show. Okay, in view of time, I'm not going to go into, like, you know, details about drama. So definitely PPL has actually been really, really big in China, and in a lot of dramas. And some of the examples will be from, this is a good case study from Unilever. A few years back, probably some of you have heard that they actually created the first localized Ugly Betty. Too much product, you know, it didn't work so well. They learned their lesson, and then they have evolved. So 2009, 2011, 2012, they continue with their efforts with the drama called Unbeatable. And Unbeatable is actually only about one product, which is Clear, you know, their hair shampoo. So a lot of problems, you know, in China, there's a lot of restriction and regulation change all the time. So they constantly met a lot of challenges because of the fact that, you know, like, you know, the programming time slot has changed, so they've met a lot of problems like going on the satellite TV, so they also move on to video portals. And a very, very interesting findings for the season 2 is that when they put all their efforts in 9 video portals, the ratings on the channel actually didn't do very well. So it is a sign that China is not ready for 100% you know, digital video alone. So it takes 360 across the line to create the best ROI for our client. I'm not going to go into details. This is the first drama that actually leveraged on Taobao, which is the e-commerce site. So it's a synergy between the content in the show and leading consumers to actually purchase online with whatever the artist is wearing in the drama. A very successful case study. So movies. Very interesting as well. This one is very interesting. You know, China loves to actually localize stuff, so they localize their what women want. So this is actually a very famous celebrity we see here, like Andy Lau and Gong Li. Just imagine if you get Andy Lau or Gong Li to do a commercial statement for a brand, how much are you going to pay for it? But Lotto actually won an award with this content integration in that it's very smartly integrated into the movie segment. Can we roll the tape, please?
一样的路，有不一样的走法。与其在深里原地踏步，不如跟我去享受风的速度。从感觉出发。 会有不期而遇的美好，乐在其中，图我自在。
Okay, so the entire Lotto advertising campaign is in the movie. How cool is that? And they didn't pay extra. So, you know, I think this is not the cut-down version, so my time is running out. Okay, in China, a lot of movie directors, the big ones, you know, like Feng Xiaogan has also evolved. So from very, you know, direct product placement in the past with mobile phones, and if you are the one who has evolved to the very emotional movie, some of you probably have seen it, Aftershock. So this is one movie which is very interesting. It created a new trend of B2B, because in the show you have a tractor. You know, a tractor in the show, which is a sponsor. So in the past, when you think about tractor, you think about demolition, pollution, but this show totally changed the PR of this company, because whenever you see a tractor, it symbolizes saving lives. Lives are saved. So the tractor became a hero. It's a very, very interesting trend, you know, setting for this B2B product placement. Of course, we have Transformer. Transformer, you know, blockbusters are definitely a very, very popular platform for clients. So, of course, you know, in China, we have all these clients already aggressively, you know, working into Hollywood blockbuster like your Meteors Brown, your Ely, TCL, Lenovo. And actually, surprisingly, they have consistently been doing this. If I have this one, no. Okay, I think we missed out the slide. The next one is actually Avengers as well. Avengers also was a property that the brand that you see were in Avengers. And you know, the next one, Iron Man 3 is coming up. Again, you'll see the same brands. So very, very aggressive and very, very, you know, out there to actually engage with the consumer and tell the outside world that we China brand has got the money. So anyway, so let's look at what's out there internationally as well. I am actually very honored and privileged to be participating in the first branded entertainment jury in Cannes Lions. So for 59 years, this is the first time they included such a category, and also in Spice Asia. And with the jury, actually, we can see that this year alone, we actually attracted a lot of entries. So it goes to show, without too much promotion, actually a lot of people didn't know that there is such a category in the awards. So we have 800 entries in Cannes, we have 400 entries in Spice Asia, and of course in Cannes we tried to be more encouraging. We created so many golds and so many silver and bronze to encourage. So please, try to participate as much as possible, because I do not see a lot of Asian entries. Seriously, there are not enough Asian entries. So, having said that, when I was in Spice Asia, I am actually also very surprised, because our Spice Asia jury are actually a lot more stricter. So Asians do have a greater taste for branded content. What won a gold in Cannes did not win a gold in Spice Asia. Imagine that. So, and we see a lot more entries from Japan and Korea in Spice Asia. So keep it coming. So the jury actually created this summary of what we are looking for the international benchmark of a winning branded content. Okay, number one, of course, you have to be very innovative. You have to be creative. And original works usually win awards. So, as much as, the show created a lot of ROI for a client, variety shows and all that, chances of you getting awards are not very high. Of course, at the end of the day, we are doing this for our client as well, right? Again, engaging. It has to be very engaging. It has to be relevant to your consumer, to your audience. It has to create a long tail. It has to be targeted. Hopefully, we want to see a holistic integration, as holistic as possible. And then, at the end of the day, a meaningful and inspirational outcome. This is not easy to achieve, but I've seen with my own eyes certain entries from Cuba, Mexico. Some entries actually created very, very touching ROI, because one entry was about human trafficking, and the branded content actually saved lives. So these are like really, really big inspirational outcome we are looking out for. It's not very common usually, right? But this is good to have. So last but not least, let me show you what is the international benchmark of a holistic integration. This is the Grand Prix of the Cannes Lions 2012. Roll the tape, please.
Over the last 17 years, Chipotle's brand story has evolved from talking about burritos to how they're sourcing the best sustainable ingredients. Instead of just putting big burritos on billboards, we helped Chipotle create a content-driven marketing platform to tell this deeper story. The platform, called Cultivate a Better World, was designed to emotionally engage customers in Chipotle's journey to create a more sustainable future. To kick it off, Chipotle established the Cultivate Foundation so that all marketing initiatives could have a charitable component to support family farms. Next, Chipotle reinvented the loyalty program with the Farm Team, an interactive program that rewards customers for learning more rather than eating. Members learned, shared, played, and watched their way to rewards, including the limited edition Farm Team Collectible, which reminds our fans, what your food eats, you eat. Then came Cultivate Chicago, a food festival for the people, where 17,000 attendees, alongside famous chefs, farmers, local artisans, craft brewers, and popular bands, joined Chipotle in cultivating a better world. Finally, we launched Back to the Start.
Willie Nelson covering Coldplay sounds like a bit of an odd mix, but it is for a good cause. The country legend covered The Scientist for a short film called Back to the Start.
I'm going back to the start.
Distributed online and on 10,000 movie screens, the film ignited a national conversation. The Scientist was played on radio and sold on iTunes, with all proceeds supporting the Cultivate Foundation. Then, Back to the Start took Chipotle on their first foray into television, as the entire 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the film aired during the 54th Annual Grammy Awards, immediately following Coldplay's live performance.
The Grammys had its fair share of memorable performances last night, but one of the most talked about moments was Chipotle's first advertisement to run on national TV. So people on social media can't stop talking about it.
It's great. Yeah, we love what he knows.
The emotional ad has been tweeted more than 10,000 times, and the reviews are almost unanimously positive.
An audience of over 40 million viewers catapulted our song to the #1 country song on iTunes. But the best result so far may be the effect we're having on the competition. The day after Back to the Star aired at the Grammys, McDonald's announced that it was ending an inhumane fast food practice.
Silvia, go everyone. A round of applause, please.
Thank you.
We didn't know if we were going to have time for a Q&A, but it looks like we do, which is great. We're going to have just about enough time for 1 or 2 questions.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have any questions from the floor? Does anyone want to ask? Yes, do I see a hand up just now? Any hands up? Let me just check with our team if we have any SMS questions. Yes, we do. We have an SMS question that's come in. Thank you for that. As an honored judge for the first BE jury in Cannes and Spikes in Asia, how do you see the Asian entries?
I think it's actually very promising. We do see a lot of innovation in Asia, and we are not out there enough. So we have to actually be encouraged, and we actually have to be bold enough to enter our work. I've seen a lot of very great works in Japan. Hatsune Miku was a very good example of UGC taken to the next level. And definitely, I think Asians stand a chance in the international stage as well.
That's always nice to hear. Do you have any more questions? Does anyone on the floor have any questions? Do we have? Yes. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Bob from CCube TV. We do intend to go into branded content for 2013 onwards. There's always a challenge between balancing between straight to the face message and subtle message and all those things. How do you gauge, and is this too much and it's too little for a client for ROI and all those things as well?
I think a very, very good question. I think first of all, you have to identify the brand. For what I showed you just now with Double Mean, it has already got 95% awareness. You do not need the straight-in-your-face kind of product placement, and the client doesn't want it. In fact, the client went to the venue and said, bring down the logo, please. There's too much logo. So basically, this is a very sophisticated client who knows marketing. So you have to strike a balance and work with your client on that. When we do branded content, Liquid Thread has a very strict protocol. We do pre-evaluations, and we actually evaluate the platform. Platform is very important for China with 3,000 TV stations, right? So you need to identify the KPI for your clients first. Is it a mass reach, or if the budget is too little, is digital good enough for you? And then if it's a very, very new brand into the market, can you do things to ride on something like, for example, in China, Iron Man 3 is coming. So Iron Man 3 is probably a good platform to launch a new brand, which we are also working right now.
All right, thank you, Ms. Goh. That wraps up our Q&A session. Everyone, please, a round of applause for Ms. Silvia Goh, Liquid Thread, Starcom, MediaVest Group. Thank you.